Screech by TarynMcT. Read by Oakshadow5. Chapter 26. Okay, so I know you can't do a lot of flying when carrying someone. Dinky mused while they were all eating dinner, having been over for a study session that lasted longer than originally planned. But do you think you can take me on a quick flight sometime? Papa had made katsudon for dinner, and Izuku munched thoughtfully on his piece of pork while he considered it. Well, my current weight limit for a quick hop is about 200 kilos, and you're well under that. You're what, 67? Almost 70, last I checked. Dinky grinned. I've been gaining a lot more lean muscle since I started on Mike Sensei's workout plan. Izuku nodded. He had noticed that Denki was showing more defined muscles, but hadn't wanted to say anything just in case it was just his imagination running away while fantasizing over his boyfriend. Not that he had fantasized about his boyfriend. Well, I can take you flying, but it really won't be as exciting as you'd probably want. Wait, Hitoshi interrupted. You refuse to take me flying? I call bullshit favoritism. Izuku stuck out his tongue at Hitoshi. Yes, it is favoritism. Denki's my boyfriend, not you. Plus, you're what, 90 kilos? Hard pass, we'd never get off the ground, Izuku teased. 80, you asshole, Hitoshi laughed. Besides, you said your limit is 200. I demand a flight if Denki gets one. I've been asking longer. Izuku rolled his eyes and glanced over to Shota and Hisashi. A little help here? Nope, sorry baby bird, but I want to fly too, Hisashi snickered.
If you're offering flights, sign me up.
Shota nodded. You guys are so big and heavy though, Izuku whined. Denki's not much taller than I am. I can get a decent grip on him, but you three are freaking giants. Izuku pouted and took another bite of his katsudon. May Keigo take you on a flight?
He's barely taller than you are, Zu,
Hitoshi joked. At least he's got all of his adult feathers. He can carry more than I can. Denki scratched the back of his head and said, If it's all that big a deal, never mind, I don't need a flight. Shota snorted.
It's not that big a deal, Kaminari. Izuku and Hitoshi have this conversation every few days. Besides, I'm probably going to make him work on his endurance during the camp, so he's going to be carrying people around the camp the whole time.
What? Izuku stared wide-eyed at Shota. I didn't consent to that. Hisashi hummed in amusement. Actually, you did, Izu, when you accepted your place at UA. Aspects of training to be determined by the homeroom teacher or heroics instructor, I believe are the official terms used in the paperwork. Shota nodded solemnly.
Unless you want to drop down to Zashi's class.
Izuku pouted as the others laughed.
Relax, Izu.
Shota ruffled his hair.
I'm not going to make you do anything crazy like what you do with Keigo, and I'll have you start small, probably carrying Asui or Hagakuri for an hour. By the time the camp is over, you'll have carried everyone for at least 2 hours at a time.
Everyone? But Sato and Koda are huge, Izuku protested. And Shoji too.
I'm not asking for aerial maneuvers, just flying in circles at various heights, or something like that.
Shota shrugged.
You'll never be able to carry heavier loads if you never carry heavier loads.
Izuku stabbed a piece of meat and sulked. Just because you're right doesn't mean I have to like it.
Hey, Dad.
Hitoshi cut in, changing the subject.
Do you think me and Shoto can go to the mall this weekend and pick up some things for camp?
Oh, us too, Denki exclaimed. Izuku, let's go to the mall this weekend. Hitoshi can get our things for camp, and we can...
I'm not your pack mule, thanks.
Hitoshi interrupted.
If you want things for camp, get it yourself.
Izuku giggled. Sure. Izuku looked at Shota. Can we go to the mall too, Dad? Ooh, he's pulling the big guns out, Sho, Hisashi teased. He called you Dad. Denki looked around the table, confused. I'm missing something, aren't I? Hitoshi smirked.
He almost never calls him Dad. Something about how it's weird after all the years spent as a vigilante. He only does it now when he's trying to get something.
Izuku nodded. He raised Eraser for me for 3 years. I'm only recently calling him Shota instead of Eraser all the time. It was easy with Papa, though. I'd never met him as present mech before I moved in with them. Denki nodded. That made sense.
Sure, you gremlins have fun. It'll be the last time before you suffer at camp for 2 weeks.
Shota said with his creepy, manic grin that never failed to terrify Denki. Izuku was sitting on a bench in front of the fountain at the mall, shark blanket wrapped around him, as he stared at the bodies on the floor, blood pooling around them, smeared from the frantic dodging and ducking, residue of explosions surrounding the plaza of the mall. 5 people were dead, and 7 others had been rushed to the hospital, 3 of who weren't expected to survive the limbs that had been blown off. No matter how much anyone tried, Izuku couldn't stop staring at the blood. Those people were dead because of him. He had been the target. If he had only stood still and let himself be killed, those innocent people would still be alive. He thought there was something rubbing circles on his back, but Izuku was too deeply immersed in his head to register his surroundings. We were just out on a date, me and Izu. We were doing some shopping for a school trip that's coming up, Denki was saying, giving his statement to the detective that had shown up on the scene. We had just decided to stop for lunch, and that's when we heard it. I don't remember his name, but he was the kid that was expelled from our class on the second day of school. Of the 5 bodies, 2 were adults and the other 3 were kids. One of them didn't even look to be in the double digits yet. All of this could have been avoided if Izuku would have just let himself be killed. Why did he fight back? He knew better than to fight back. The guy screamed out an insult, or maybe an old nickname? I don't know, but the name was Deku, and Izuku blanched and turned around to look at the guy who was storming up to us. Bakugo was always meaner when Izuku tried to fight back, or when he dodged. It had been so long since he'd seen him, that Izuku had almost forgotten just how powerful Bakugo was. Just how much he let his pride guide him. I remember this guy was expelled because he attacked Izuku after an exercise on the second day of class. Izu's team had won, and this guy I guess had an issue with it. He felt that Izu had cheated. When he attacked, Izuku was able to deflect his attacks easily, and that just upset the guy more. Denki looked around at the carnage around them. Izuku's good at dodging attacks. Of course Bakugo wanted to kill Izuku. He had gotten Bakugo expelled. He had crushed his dreams. He had single-handedly ruined everything Bakugo had been working for his entire life. No wonder he was upset with Izuku. Izuku was nothing more than a worthless Deku after all. Useless, worthless, quirkless Deku. Izuku kept telling him to stop attacking, that he was hurting innocent bystanders. I know that Izuku could have used his quirk to make him stop, but he would have hit the bystanders too, and that's something Izuku would never do. What was he even trying to do anymore? Protect people? Please, what a joke. What right did he have to even pretend he was strong? Izuku was a pathetic waste of space. He was using up precious oxygen that someone else could be using. Someone who was a productive member of society. Anger issues just kept attacking, making bigger and bigger explosions every time Izu dodged. Denki gestured to all the damage in the plaza. Most of the food court had been demolished, and some of the shops were totally destroyed. There had been fires, but they were put out by now. Izuku's tears started streaming down his face, but he made no move to stop them. Why should he even bother? Why was he even bothering to do anything at all? Why was he even alive? He should just end it now. Here. There were already people taking away the bodies of the people Izuku couldn't save. What's one more body? Izuku moved his hand to grip at his wrist and started to extend his talons. Denki grasped Izuku's hand tightly in his own and moved it away from his wrist, but got no other response. He started actually targeting the civilians when Izu still wouldn't fight him, when he only dodged his attacks. That's when he started killing people. I think that's what broke Izuku. Denki whispered the last part. Izuku just wanted the pain to stop. The pain of failure, the pain of being worthless, the pain of being useless, the pain of being Deku, the pain of existing. Why did it have to hurt so much? Why couldn't it just end? Izuku just stopped. He dropped to his knees, and I think I would have let anger issues kill him at that point, but I couldn't let him do that. He's my boyfriend, I had to step in. Izuku was so useless that he almost got Denki killed too. Denki had stepped in between him and Bakugo's grin had been full of pure murder. He had wanted to kill Denki. Then where would Izuku be? He'd be responsible for not only the deaths of 5 innocent bystanders, but also his boyfriend? Just as I was about to let loose a blast of electricity, there was a swirling portal, like the one from the USJ attack, and anger issues disappeared. I don't know where he went, but I'm willing to bet he's with the people who attacked us at the USJ now. Izuku didn't deserve any of this. He didn't deserve life. He didn't deserve Denki. He didn't deserve a family, brothers, a dad, and he definitely didn't deserve his papa. The only thing he deserved was death. He tried once more to move his hand to his wrist, but there was a warm hand holding onto his, keeping him from reaching his wrist. Just let me go, Izuku whispered. There's no use in me staying here. I only ruin everything. Never, Izu. He heard Denki's warm voice in his ear as he pulled Izuku into his chest. I will never let you go. You hear me? I love you, and you're not allowed to leave me alone. The purple portal opened up into a bar and Katsuki dropped down, landing on his feet. He looked around, staring at everyone there. There was some little girl with her hair in messy buns, some lizard-looking fuck, a guy in black spandex, a freak in a mask and a yellow coat, a burnt-ass bitch, some tall-ass freak with what looked like a cloth-wrapped metal thing, and a person made of purple mist. "Where the fuck am I?" Katsuki demanded. Another portal opened in front of him, and some crusty fuck with blue hair stepped out. "Welcome," the crusty guy said. "My name is Shigaraki Tomura, and I would like to ask you to join us in the League of Villains. I was impressed by your display at the mall. So much destruction, so much death." "Tch," Katsuki scoffed. "I just wanted to kill this stupid fucking Deku, but the bitch wouldn't stand still." "Join us, and we can help you get to this Deku again," Krusty fuck grinned. "I don't fucking need anyone's help," Katsuki growled at him. "Huh, perhaps you don't need help, but we could still use yours." Crustface smiled at Katsuki. "We're going to attack the students of UA, and we're going to destroy Hero Society." Katsuki looked at him for a moment. He didn't really care about that. He just wanted to kill Deku. But on the other hand, he had just killed a whole bunch of people, so if he shot himself now, he'd be arrested again, and this time probably thrown in prison. Maybe even Tartarus. Shit, had he fucked up that badly? Whatever. He still wanted Deku dead, and now he's a villain. Might as well roll with it. It's not as if he was going to be a hero anymore anyways. So, sure, why the fuck not? "What the hell? I'm in. Let's kill some UA bitches." Katsuki gave his own thorough smirk at the blue-haired fuck. "I got nothing else to lose at this point." This was a traumatizing chapter. Izuku falling back into the suicidal mindset because Bakugo killed 5 people while trying to kill Izuku. Oh, that was so hard to read. And at the end, Katsuki's like a full-fledged villain now. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 26 of Screech, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!